Hey everyone, welcome back to My Apple Zone, and in this video I'm going to be giving you my almost 3-week review of the iPad 2. So let's get started. So I've been using the iPad 2 now for almost 3 weeks, and what I want to do in this video is go over the new features of the iPad 2 and some of the improvements over the first generation iPad. So let's start off with the design. The first thing you notice about the design of the iPad 2 is how thin it is. The iPad 2 is 33% thinner and 15% lighter than the first generation iPad. In fact, the iPad 2 is thinner than the iPhone 4. Let's take a look. The thinner form factor of the iPad 2 is a very nice improvement over the first generation iPad. Even with the smaller form factor, the iPad 2 still provides 10 hours of battery life. So as you can see, the iPad 2 has a much thinner profile than the first generation iPad. I like it. I think it's easier to hold. Some people think it's harder to hold because there's not enough material to hold on to, but I like the new profile. There is a difference in the weight as well. It's barely noticeable. I mean, if you pick up an iPad first generation and the iPad 2 at the same time, it's really hard to know the difference, although the iPad 2 is a little bit lighter than the first generation iPad. So let's jump right into the two newest features that the iPad 2 has versus the first generation iPad, and that's the new processor and the cameras. Let's talk about the processor first. The iPad 2 has the dual-core 1 GHz A5 processor, and that processor does provide a decent performance boost over the first generation iPad. I did a test of the iPad 2 versus the first generation iPad. The link is in the description. Some people said that my test wasn't done correctly because I wasn't really using the full potential of the dual-core A5 processor, and they're right. The dual-core A5 processor throttles up and down, and really you see the most advantage with the A5 processor when you're using processor-intense applications like iMovie or graphic-intense applications like games. So you'll see a huge performance boost again when you're using processor-intense applications. For normal everyday use, applications do open much faster. When you're using Safari, the web pages open much faster, but it's not 2 times faster, but again, it's not utilizing the full potential of the A5 processor. So overall, the A5 processor provides a nice performance boost over the previous generation iPad. So let's talk about the cameras. The iPad 2 has 2 cameras. The front camera is a still camera and a VGA video camera. The rear camera is a still camera and a 720p high-definition video camera. However, the apertures on these camera lenses is very small, and because of that, you're going to need a lot of light to get good or quality images out of both the front or rear cameras. The front-facing camera is a sub-megapixel still camera and a VGA camera. VGA video camera, which you would use for FaceTime video chat, Skype video chat. The rear camera you can use to record fairly decent 720p video, but again, you're going to need a lot of light to do that. Mostly if you're going to be using it indoors, again, you're going to need a studio light or some sort of light source to get quality video out of this. Otherwise, the video quality is going to be grainy. There's also a new speaker on the back right here. The speaker is in different positions, so when you're comparing it to the first generation iPad, the volume level is a little bit lower, but the quality of the audio is a little bit better, so it's sort of a wash between the first generation and the second generation iPad. So the question I get a lot from first generation iPad owners is, should I upgrade to the iPad 2? And really it comes down to 2 things. If you're going to be using the iPad for gaming, if you're a big gamer, then definitely the iPad 2 is the upgrade path you want to take. The new processor provides 9x graphics performance improvement over the first generation iPad. It's awesome for gaming. So again, if you're a big gamer on the iPad 1, definitely recommend upgrading to the iPad 2. If you're looking for the cameras, if you've been looking for the cameras to do video chat, then definitely the iPad 2 is a good upgrade. If you've been waiting for the cameras to film video, then I would say no. The cameras on the iPad 2 are low quality. You're not going to get quality stills, you're not going to get quality video. So if that was the reason you were thinking of upgrading, then I would say stick with the first generation iPad. So if you're not a big gamer, if you're not into video chat, then I would suggest sticking with your first generation iPad. If you don't have an iPad already, and again you're looking to decide between the iPad 2 or the first generation iPad, again, if you're not a big gamer and you're not looking to do any video chat, then I would buy a first generation iPad. You can buy it from Apple for $399, or you can find them all over the internet, especially on eBay, from about $250 to $300. They're a steal right now. So for those of you who don't have an iPad, the first generation iPad is a great price right now. So again, I've been using the iPad 2 for about 3 weeks. I find myself using the iPad 2 more than I use the first generation iPad. I'm using the iPad 2 a lot for video chat with friends, relatives, and other folks on YouTube, so the cameras have come in handy for me. I'm not a really big gamer, but there are a couple games that I do play on the iPad 2, and the new dual-core A5 processor has made a big difference. So that's my review of the iPad 2. If you guys have any questions about the iPad 2, just leave a comment down below. I answer all questions. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports the channel, and I really appreciate it. And until next time, I will talk to you later.